Now, I've made this video a couple times, but it's been a year, maybe a couple of years, something like that. So I figure some of my newer viewers probably haven't seen this. Now, this is probably, most of my viewers are probably not going to understand this. You need to kind of know who Robert Monroe was. One of my personal heroes, by the way. He's been gone for many years. He died back in the 90s. He was like in his 80s or 90 years old when he finally passed on. But anyway, he... well, if you're curious on who he was, there's a Wikipedia page on him, Robert Allen Monroe, if you're curious on who he was. Now, I'm going to get to exactly what Loosh is here in a couple of minutes, but I'm going to tell you who, Robert Monroe was. Now, back in the mid-50s, now he was an electronics guy. He invented something called hemisync, where you would use one frequency, then you'd use another audio frequency, then you'd use another frequency, maybe 6 or 8 hertz difference in, between the two, from one ear to the other ear, and that difference in frequency is hemisync. It would, do something in your brain. Your brain would, would recognize the difference in the frequency, and it would. Anyway, the idea is, is to go into a state of deep, hypnosis, deep relaxation. But anyway, he was messing around with us back in the mid-50s, and he went in such a deep state of relaxation that he was still conscious. He found his, his astral body. He didn't like that term. He used out-of-body experience. But anyway, he'd find himself, wandering out of the body. First thing he thought he was dead. Then by that time he climbed back into his body, talked to a few people. After he figured out that wasn't going to kill him, he started kind of playing around with it, and he got into some very, very interesting experiences. But anyway, after he'd been doing this for a couple of years, he started bumping into these beings that had never been human. They were higher order beings, something like that. I said, you have to read, these books to understand what he's going for. But these beings would give him pieces of information. Now, one piece of information that was given is on the early history of the Earth, why the Earth was created. Now, the idea behind Loosh, now these beings that would, how do I describe this? Loosh is like the emotional energy given off in the, when all life forms engage in the life-death struggle. That's Loosh. But anyway, these beings had set up the Earth as kind of a garden to produce beings that, that all life here on Earth was produced as kind of a garden, kind of a farm, as like the milk cow. The milk cow is that's a quote Monroe. Like the milk cow was, only bred to produce milk. That we all us beings here on Earth were produced to. We were pre-programmed to engage in, that life-death struggle to generate Loosh. Now, after Monroe first discovered this, he got kind of upset, pretty sad about it, and. But I think after a while, he kind of dismissed it. He kind of said, well, this may be a piece of false information, so I'm just putting it out there. Maybe this is the true story, or maybe this is just, I don't think he was lying, but I'm thinking maybe the being that gave him the information may have been wrong. I don't know. But I just think I'd like to put this out there. Kind of, I find it kind of interesting. I think later, because Monroe didn't touch upon it in any of his later books. But he said, if you read, it's like, I'm trying to think of the title of his first 3 books. But if you go to Wikipedia, it'll list the 3 books if you want to. I'm sure they're on Amazon because everything is on Amazon if you want to. There's probably like a Kindle version where you can, just download them, real cheap, and you kind of read them off your whatever device you've got for, electronic print versions. Anyway, that's Loosh. Okay, love you. Bye-bye.